Okay, so today I wanted to interview you for a change, get some questions down we've never asked. It'd be nice to know about the CEO of the company. So you can introduce yourself.
I'm the CEO of Slattery Moving Storage.
Right, Lawrence.
So if you're on my website here, that's the big cheese.
Right. So where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Jersey, in Rivervale, which is one town over from Pearl River, but most of my life, Rockland County, Nyack, and Nanuet.
Rivervale was that area is Bergen County?
Yeah, it's the first town over from Pearl River into Jersey, Bergen County.
Cool. What did you see yourself doing as a career before you chose to be an entrepreneur?
I didn't know, actually. My parents had owned an office furniture business. I grew up in that business, so I just assumed I would be doing that. But over the term that I was in it, they opened it up when I was like 13. So by the time I was 20, I really didn't love the business. It was kind of a retail, so you're kind of married to the door, so to speak. You have to be there all the time. So I didn't like that piece of it. So when I had the opportunity to kind of get out of that, I did. And
what do you like to do personally as a hobby?
Hobby, yeah, I love anything sports related. I really like to cycle, do CrossFit. I love CrossFit. Outdoors, love outdoors. Anything with water, skiing, stuff like that. Really, just anything outdoors.
And what would be your ideal vacation spot if you had one chance to go?
Hawaii, the Big Island.
Oh man,
that's the place. That's amazing. If you ever get a chance to go.
Isn't the Big Island? The Big Island's actually called Hawaii, right?
That is Hawaii.
Right.
Big
That's the actual
Hawaii.
one.
Then all the smaller islands outside of it have their own names. But when you say Hawaii, you're actually speaking of the Big Island.
That's awesome. What's do you have a personal hero?
I have several. Depends on which area we're looking into. I do.
More like a lifestyle hero.
Lifestyle. Actually, Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is to me is an amazing man of our time. I think he's really changed a tremendous amount of people's lives, and he continues to innovate on a daily basis. For the past 30 years. So. For sure.
And he's a life coach? How would you describe
him? He's like the father of life coaching. I mean, back in the early 80s, if you're around long enough to know, he used to be on infomercials and stuff, but now he's doing pretty large seminars, but he's been an innovator for 30 years. He's really the father of, the life coaching type of deal.
How long ago did you start Slattery Moving?
Eeks. We're at 23 years, over 23 years ago.
Wow, that's you've been in business for a while.
Yeah, it's a long time.
But what made you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, what drove you? I think maybe you answered that a little bit earlier, but can you elaborate a little more?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in the family business, I never. I've had several jobs, in between that space when I was younger, but I really never thought about. I was lucky. I really was life circumstance. I grew up in. My parents were good enough to start a business, or smart enough, I should say, and never dawned on me to work for anybody. It was just not in my DNA, really. So I had always done the moving because of the office furniture. It was the moving when I came up when I was younger. That's what my job was.
Well, that leads me to my second question: is what made you want to start a moving company? Did you see that opportunity in that space?
I saw it in the space of the office furniture business. People were coming in and asking my father while they were buying new office furniture because they were growing their business. They had to move their old office, and did he know any movers? And it dawned on me we had some trucks outside, and I totally was fine with moving the stuff. And so I kind of made a proposition to my father: listen, I'll use your trucks and I'll do all the work and everything has to do with it, and we'll split it. And that's how the moving company started. Slattery Moving started, which was on the side of the office furniture business.
Wow, I never even knew that, and I work here.
Oh, really? You didn't know that?
Yeah. Were you nervous when you first started the company?
Not really, because I had it on the side of the office furniture business, and that was like my thing. And I still had the office furniture business, my parents' business. We were partners, and then they retired, and I was running the businesses. So when the office furniture business, I just didn't want to do it anymore. It's a whole other story. We got rid of that. I was already kind of doing it, so I was never really nervous. That never really dawned on me being nervous about it. I just always figured I'd make everything happen that I wanted to happen.
How did you feel like when you got your first truck, like your first branded truck?
Yeah, the first moving truck was a big deal. I've had trucks my whole life. My father was a truck driver before he got into the office furniture business. I've always been into trucks. It's always been like kind of in our family. So we've had trucks, but when I first got the actual first moving truck, this specific type of truck, it was a big deal. It was. I was very proud of that piece of it.
I imagine you felt the same way when you got the warehouse, or like a big warehouse.
Sure. The warehouse, we've been here. I think August will be 5 years. So almost 20 years I worked to find and be able to afford a location. It was a big deal, but buying the warehouse is a big deal.
So I wanted to ask you a question about the logo. Why the color blue, and what are some of the reasons you designed the logo like you did?
That's interesting. You have those questions. Okay, so the color blue dawned on me that in life everything is green. So moving is seasonal. It's done in the summer, so everything is in full bloom. So if I was to stick with my Slattery Irish heritage, it would have been a green on green. So I wanted it to stand out. So I used the blue as a standout against the life's backdrop of green, basically. That's why I came up with that color.
And the logo, it seems like it's in motion. So I imagine that's the reason why it was designed.
Right. So one of the trips I was doing very early on in the business, one of the first trips I did to Florida, I was on my way down North Carolina somewhere, and a truck went past me. And it went past me and it had some lines on it. And the way I guess I was kind of driving for a long time, was kind of punch drunk. It kind of seemed like the logo moved even though it was sitting in one spot. So I thought about that. I thought about moving in storage. So I thought about getting the logo to appear as it's in motion, even if it's idle. So I slanted the letters, ran the lines behind it. That was the whole idea of it.
So what was your vision for the company as a whole when you started out?
As a whole, when I started out, I was only 22, 23, so I just wanted to be the best. You know what I mean? I just wanted to dominate. That's at that age, and that was really where I went at. I just kept wanting to grow the company and, another truck. Basically, at that point, it was just a matter of, anybody who knew I had a moving company, the first thing they would say is, how many trucks you have? So I kind of got into that whole idea of, more trucks equals more success. So I kind of was going that route. But that was just really to be the best, really, at that point.
Are there any great companies right now that you feel like changing the game?
Yeah, in the moving industry? Or
No, it could be... No, I meant that in general. In general.
In general, I think there's a few. I think Zappos is a company that's changing customer service as a whole. If you look into that, they're the most expensive shoe, and they're getting to other things now, but their customer service is just outrageous and outstanding, and also their company culture. I think definitely Apple. Apple's changed our culture. I think it's something to look at. They're just constant innovation, to the point of, I literally, it's funny you said, I just updated iOS 6, and they're updating so fast that it's that's how quick they innovate. It's almost too much to some degree, but I love that idea of high innovation.
And in the couple of decades of being in business, are there any experiences that have stood out to you in conducting business and just in general in the moving?
A little bit more. I don't really know exactly what you're asking.
Have you ever had, let's put it, have you ever moved a famous person or anyone that struck you, or something like that, along that?
Yeah, there's a lot of those stories. Nyack and, Piermont and that whole area, this area, I should say, is really chock full of, famous people. So I've moved, quite a bit of them. We are, the premier mover in the area, so we're sought after, and, I still do the moves along with my brother, so we're present. With our amount of experience, there's really nothing that you could throw at us, work-wise, that's ever going to a curveball. So I have a lot of great stories, but I can't mention the names, so we do a lot of high-end people. And
what do you feel like it takes to stay current in the moving industry?
Any industry, it's constant innovation. If you're not innovating on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, you're going to go away, especially in today's economy. Since 2008, I literally reinvented my business. I had a very successful business until 2008, and then all the parameters and the paradigm of how business is conducted changed overnight. So, great thing. It's the best thing ever happened, actually. Business is better than it's ever been. But you have to innovate. I think innovation, if you're not innovating, it's pretty much over for you as far as business.
And do you feel like the moving industry is going to change in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I do. The United States Transportation, USDOT, actually has taken over every state, where it used to be you'd be governed by state as a mover, and then by the USDOT. That's all gone. So there's no local municipalities governing movers anymore. It's like a nationwide thing. That's a big piece. That's a big thing in the moving industry. And I think that every business is changing. I think the moving industry is so stuck in old school, years ago, hourly rates, and the way they price and the paradigm that they work under is a failed system for sure. One of the reasons why last year was our best year over year in the 20+ years we've been doing it is because we're not doing anything really like the moving industry is designed to do. So if you look at the way we do things, if you're getting quoting from us versus another company, it's just a massive difference. It's just a massive difference the way we do things.
All right, thank you for answering my questions.
Sure, yeah, listen, anytime, I appreciate it.